The night was alive in Harlem. Streetlights flickered like distant stars, washing the cracked pavement in golden halos. The smell of rain hung heavy in the air, that uneasy stillness before a storm. Luke Cage stood on the rooftop of Pop's old barbershop, hands on his hips, watching the clouds churn above. He'd fought thugs, gangsters, even a few superhumans, but this storm felt different. This wasn't just weather. This was a warning. A streak of lightning tore the heavens open, and from the heart of it descended Thor Odinson, the god of thunder himself. His cape billowed like crimson fire, his armor gleamed like molten gold, and in his hand, Mjolnir hummed with the voice of storms. When Thor landed, the street cracked beneath his boots. The thunder rolled through Harlem like a drumbeat of war. "Are you Luke Cage of Midgard?" Thor's voice was deep, regal, and commanding, but not hostile. "Protector of this realm, champion of your people." Luke clenched his jaw. "Depends who's asking. I am Thor Odinson, son of Odin, prince of Asgard." He raised Mjolnir, lightning dancing across his arm. "I seek," the man said, "to possess unbreakable skin. A man who defied the wrath of mortal weapons and walked away unscathed. I must test this legend." Luke frowned. "You came all the way from outer space to start a fight? Man, you gods really need new hobbies." Thor smiled faintly. "In Asgard, strength is proven through combat. I offer you the chance to stand among the great warriors of the 9 realms. Face me, Luke Cage, not as an enemy, but as an equal." Cage looked down at the streets below. Kids played ball in the park. The world didn't need gods testing mortals. It needed men who stood their ground. He cracked his knuckles. "Fine, Thunderboy. But if we're doing this, we're doing it my way. No innocents caught in the crossfire." Thor nodded solemnly. "Then let the storm rise where none may fall." They met in the middle of an abandoned construction yard, steel girders rising like bones in the dark. Rain began to fall, slow at first, then harder, drumming against metal and stone. Luke squared his shoulders, his brown eyes blazing with determination. "All right, god of lightning. Let's see what happens when thunder meets Harlem." Thor swung Mjolnir, the air screaming around the hammer as it whirled in his grasp. Lightning flashed, and the entire yard shook as he brought it down. Luke dove aside, the impact splitting the ground like an earthquake. Shards of concrete exploded outward, pelting his unbreakable skin. He charged forward, fists like cannonballs, and slammed one into Thor's ribs. The god of thunder grunted, not in pain but in surprise. "By Odin's beard," Thor murmured, "you strike with the force of giants." "Yeah?" Luke smirked, blood glinting on his lip. "And I ain't even started yet." He punched again, once, twice, a blur of raw street-born power. Each hit landed like a thunderclap. Thor staggered backward, laughing through the rain. "Magnificent. Truly you are a warrior born of fire and steel." But then Thor's laughter faded, replaced by the cold stillness of the storm. "Now let Asgard answer." He raised Mjolnir high. Lightning struck it, turning night into day. The yard exploded in a wave of electric fury, and Luke's body was thrown through a half-built wall. He hit the ground hard, the earth shuddering beneath him. Smoke curled from his jacket. His skin sizzled but did not break. He groaned, standing slowly. "That all you got, Thunder God?" Luke spat dust and straightened. "Because I'm still standing." Thor's eyes glowed blue. "Then endure this." He spun Mjolnir faster, faster, until it vanished into a blur of light. The wind howled like a living beast, the ground trembling from the raw cosmic force. When Thor hurled it, the hammer tore through the air like a missile. Luke barely sidestepped it. It grazed his shoulder, sending a shockwave that shattered every window within 2 blocks. Mjolnir curved through the rain and returned to Thor's grasp, but Luke was already moving. He leapt high, impossibly high, for a man his size, and drove his fist straight into Thor's jaw. The impact sent the Asgardian flying into a pile of steel beams. For a heartbeat, there was silence, broken only by the hiss of rain and Luke's ragged breathing. Then the pile exploded in a flash of light, and Thor rose again, unscathed, his expression now solemn. "Enough restraint," he said quietly. "You have earned the storm's respect." He thrust his hammer skyward. The clouds roared, lightning spider-webbing across the heavens. Luke shielded his eyes as a bolt as wide as a building came crashing down, engulfing the yard in blinding white. The world became thunder, pure and deafening. When the smoke cleared, Luke was on his knees, steam rising from his body, his jacket burned to ashes. But still, he didn't fall. "Damn," he panted, forcing a grin. "You really don't play around." Thor approached slowly, placing a hand on Luke's shoulder. "You stood against the storm and did not yield. That is no small feat, mortal." Luke looked up at him. "So what now? You done with your little godly sparring session?" Thor smiled, thunder rumbling like laughter above. "For now, but when next the realms tremble, I shall remember the man whose courage matched the storm." Luke chuckled, shaking his head. "You do that, Goldilocks. Next time bring a raincoat." As Thor rose into the sky, lightning trailing behind him, Harlem exhaled. The rain began to ease. Luke Cage stood alone among the ruins, breathing hard, his chest heaving but unbroken. He looked up at the parting clouds, at the place where gods walked, and muttered to himself, "Guess even thunder's gotta respect Harlem." The last flash of lightning painted him in gold before the sky finally went dark.